that pairs compassionate people with those who are suffering from poverty. This ministry releases children from spiritual, economic, social, and physical poverty. The goal is for each child to become a responsible and fulfilled adult. On the website, it was said that by 2009, over 1 million kids were sponsored. And throughout the website, you can tell there's ample opportunity to continue sponsoring a child online. So, the definition of poverty that Compassion International embraces is partly defined by the World Bank. They included that in their website, and I think it's kind of important because the World Bank focuses kind of mostly on economic factors. That poverty is defined as deficit, basically living on less than $1.90 per day. The people themselves describe poverty more in terms of like suffering relationships. People don't like being dependent on others. They feel alone and isolated because of their lack. They feel fearful and restricted in their rights. Chambers' entanglement theory reflects this kind of trapped feeling because of a lack of material needs. You have poor physical health. You're feeling vulnerable and powerless emotionally. And people who were interviewed by Compassion International described poverty as cancerous, overwhelming, frightening, and a debilitating beast, violence itself, that threatens the inherent dignity of those who endure it. Poverty humiliates and silences. It destroys lives, like slavery and discrimination. Poverty appears very intimidating to people who are living in it and is a massive thief of hopefulness in people's lives. The response that Compassion International takes to practicing development is best reflected in the Kingdom response, which is focusing on identity and purpose recovery, helping people understand that they are made in the image of God and that they have a meaningful purpose for their life. I think it best fits in with Jaya Karan's model of removing mental, spiritual, social, and physical limitations to their growth. On the website, development is driven by two biggest things: the Great Commandment to love God and to love your neighbor, and the Great Commission is to go out there and share the good news. The focus primarily of development is on child development, on sponsorship, survival, youth development, and church partnership and service. Each of these elements is well elaborated on the website, and they are specifically tailored to each child in whatever circumstances and whichever background they're from. To keep in line with not doing for people what they can do for themselves, like Dr. Birch said, child sponsorships are selected via a list of questions that kind of select out who would benefit the most from this program. Specifically, children under 10 are selected who live below, or their poverty index locally impacts their ability to join the program. Their location in proximity to a local church, stability within a community, meaning they're not just passing through. And the program gives special attention to kids who are currently going through a chronic illness or struggling with malnutrition, who are unable to attend school, but really have the potential to progress. Children who are orphaned, abandoned, or exploited, or are living in a single-parent home with a caregiver. Development is accomplished primarily through sponsorships, and these fund the development projects of child education, of healthcare, including a meal. Some kids get a meal at school, some kids don't. And they focus on vocational training, self-confidence, and social skills building. This organization is distinctively Christian, and you can tell that immediately by the name that was chosen, Compassion, and compassion means to suffer with. And the mission statement is included also in the title, Reclaiming Children from Poverty in Jesus' Name. The website says that the 3 C's are what make them distinctive from other organizations as Christian. They are church-based, meaning they collaborate with the local churches in every country where they are working to help meet this need. It is child-centered, specifically the target population, and Christ-focused as the motivation and inspiration for this program. They are Christian in their values. They're all completely biblical, of working together, honesty, inclusiveness, respect, professional behavior. They're passionate against injustice. The supporters are largely believers. Their churches, the staff have biblical values, and so do the sponsors. Often speakers are utilized to help promote this whole project, and businesses are also supporters of Compassion International. The outreach, it focuses on the other person, so it's not like a selfish type program. It utilizes the local churches to bring about maximal wholeness for people struggling with all sorts of deficits. Christ's principles are also visible in the leadership. They take his life and teachings as an example to shape and design the programs, and specific attention is given to godly character, family values, commitment to a local church, integrity, servant leadership, courage, and beautiful stuff like that resembles Christ-likeness. As far as the marketing and financial stewardship, here's a few highlights about Compassion International. They were ranked number 13 on Forbes' 50 largest U.S. charities list. They are also the 25th highest on the Nonprofit Times Top 100 list. As you can tell by this diagram, and I like the diagram because it kind of best summarizes how the expenses goes with Compassion International. Much of the sponsored money actually goes into the programs, and actually a large part also goes into continued fundraising to keep raising support. On the website, there's ample opportunity for internships, for career opportunities, and on the website there's more than 20 jobs posted for mostly innovations in technology, and also volunteering opportunities, sponsorship opportunities on every single page. For career options, I found it interesting that anyone from like a business background, finance, innovation, public relation, communication, management can apply here and actually find something like a job that they would enjoy doing. So I found that kind of exciting. For more information, check out Compassion International's website, and thank you so much for viewing this PowerPoint.